morning wind moved through the open fields like a sigh. I stood on the porch, coffee in my hand, watching dust roll over the valley. The ranch looked the same as always, quiet, tired, half asleep. 8 years alone had turned silence into my only friend. I said to no one, "Morning, Ellie." The sound of my own voice startled me. I spoke her name out of habit now. Maybe ghosts liked hearing their names once in a while. Mary's voice came from the kitchen window. "You talking to her again?" "I always do," I said. She stepped out, wiping her hands on her apron. "Ain't healthy, Mr. Ross." "I know. Then why keep doing it?" "Because she's the only one who still listens." Mary sighed and leaned on the rail beside me. "You should think about hiring help again," she said. "This place is too big." "No one stays long," I told her. "They say you scare folks." "Do I?" "Maybe not by talking." "But by not talking." I almost smiled. "Guess silence travels faster than a horse." She looked out at the dry fields. "Rain's coming." "You feel it?" "I feel it," I said. "Always before it comes." "Good," she said. "Maybe it'll wash this place clean." I didn't answer. Nothing could wash memories away. After she went back inside, I sat on the porch rail, watching the sky darken. The wind shifted, cooler now. The smell of rain reminded me of her hair. I remembered that last morning before the wagon left, Eleanor's hands, soft but trembling. She kissed me quick, said she'd be home before supper. But supper came cold, and she never did. The sheriff said the river took the wagon. I never found her body, just her shawl tangled in a branch near the bend. That was enough for the town to call her gone. For me, it never was. The years crawled. Work filled the days. Whiskey filled the nights. Sometimes I'd sit by her grave under the willow and talk. Mary would shake her head but never stop me. People said I was still waiting. Maybe I was. I was thinking about that when I heard the first knock. 3 small raps, soft like a bird tapping. I turned my head, expecting wind or a loose shutter. Then it came again, and a voice, small, shaky. "Daddy?" The cup slipped from my hand and broke on the step. The word hit me like a bullet. No one called me that. Not for 8 long years. I stood there frozen. Another voice, higher this time. "Please open the door." My boots felt nailed to the floorboards. Then I heard crying. 2 voices close together. I forced my legs to move. My hand trembled as I reached for the latch. When I opened the door, the world changed. 2 little girls stood there. They couldn't have been more than 9. Same light brown hair, same blue eyes I used to dream about. Their dresses were torn, covered in dust. One clutched a small locket. The other held her sister's hand tight. The taller one looked up at me. "Daddy?" Her voice cracked, scared. I couldn't breathe. Mary rushed from the kitchen. "Good Lord above!" The girls shrank back a little. I whispered, "What did you call me?" The smaller one said, "Daddy, Mama said to find you." I stepped outside, half afraid they'd vanish if I blinked. "Who's your mama?" I asked. Both of them spoke together. Eleanor Ross. The sound of her name coming from those tiny mouths almost dropped me to my knees. I gripped the doorframe. Mary gasped behind me. "Mr. Ross." "Quiet," I said softly. "Let me hear them." The taller girl opened her locket and held it up. Inside was a small picture, Eleanor smiling the way she did before the world went bad. My chest burned like fire. "Where did you get that?" I asked. "She gave it to us," the child said. "She told us to come here if anything happened." "Anything happened?" I repeated. "What do you mean?" "She got sick," whispered the younger one. "She said you'd keep us safe." I dropped to one knee level with them. Rain started to fall, soft drops hitting dust. My hands shook as I brushed the dirt from their hair. "Your mama's alive?" I asked. The taller one bit her lip. "She was." Mary gasped again, covering her mouth. My heart stopped for one long second. "Come inside," I said. "You both need food and warmth." They stepped in slowly, eyes darting around the room. The house smelled of wood smoke and old coffee. Mary hurried to light the stove. I tried to steady my voice. "What are your names?" "Lydia," said the taller one. "Lila," said the smaller twin names. Twin faces, same blue eyes I'd kissed goodnight in another life. "Eat," I said, setting bread on the table. "You're safe here." Lila looked at her sister before asking, "You're really our daddy, right?" I swallowed hard. "I don't know yet," I said. "But I want to be." They smiled weakly and began to eat. Mary whispered near my ear, "Mr. Ross." They looked just like her. I see that, I said. I sat across from the girls, studying every small movement. The way Lydia tucked her hair behind her ear. Eleanor used to do that. The way Lila hummed while she chewed. The same soft tune Eleanor hummed while mending shirts. It was like watching a memory breathe. When they finished eating, I asked softly, "Where have you been living?" "With Mama," Lydia said. "In a cabin near the river. How long?" "Always," she said. "And she never told you about me?" "She said you were far away," Lila whispered. "But that you loved us anyway." I leaned back, eyes wet. Mary brought blankets and started drying their clothes. "Mr. Ross," she whispered, "what if it's true? What if—" I cut her off. "It can't be." "Then how do they have her locket?" "I buried that locket with her shawl." "Then someone dug it up?" "No," I said. "Someone lied." The girls fell asleep, curled together on the couch. Mary covered them gently. I stared at them for a long time. Their breathing was slow, peaceful. Mine wasn't, Mary whispered. "What now?" "I don't know," I said. "You could ask the sheriff." "No," I said quickly. "Not yet. Why not?" "Because if she's alive." "Somebody wanted me to think she wasn't," Mary frowned. "Jonas?" Her saying his name felt like dust in my mouth. "Maybe," I said. "He was there the night she vanished. Why would he do that?" "Money or love. Or both." Mary shook her head. "That's a dangerous road, Daniel." "I've been walking dangerous roads since the day she left." Lightning flashed outside, white and sudden. For a second I saw my reflection in the window, the face of a man half ghost. Then thunder rolled, shaking the walls. I looked back at the twins. "They didn't stir, Mary," I said quietly. "Yes? Tomorrow I'm riding into town." She nodded slowly. "To see Jonas?" "To find the truth," she sighed. "You sure you're ready for that?" "No," I said. "But I'm done being afraid of ghosts." I stood there until the fire burned low. Rain tapped steady on the roof. The girls slept under one blanket, hands clasped even in dreams. I whispered to them, though they couldn't hear. "I lost your mother once," I said. "I won't lose you too." Outside, thunder faded. Inside, my heart didn't. The house that once felt empty now breathed again, but with questions instead of peace. I didn't know if the twins were a gift or a curse. But for the first time in 8 years, I wasn't alone. I looked toward the dark window where lightning had shown my reflection before. Now it showed something else, 2 small shapes asleep in my home. And maybe, just maybe, a reason to live again. The morning air was cold when I opened the door. 2 small girls stood there, dust on their faces, tears on their cheeks. Both held each other's hands tight. One of them whispered, "Daddy." My breath stopped. I looked around the yard, expecting someone behind them. No one. Just wind and silence. Who are you?" I asked softly. The taller one said, "Lydia." The smaller added, "Lila." Their voices trembled. Their eyes, blue, clear, deep, hit me like thunder. Eleanor's eyes. I gripped the doorframe. "What did you call me?" The taller girl looked scared. She said it again, quieter. "Daddy." For a moment I forgot how to breathe. The word cut through years of dust and grief. Mary rushed from the kitchen. "What's going on, Daniel?" she said. Then she saw them. Her face went pale. The girls looked at her and then at me. "Please," the smaller one said. "We're hungry," Mary gasped. "Lord, look at them." "Come inside." I stepped aside slowly. They entered, holding hands tighter. Their shoes were torn, their dresses thin. Mary brought bread and warm milk. They ate fast, quiet, careful, like someone might take it away. I watched them from the table. Same golden hair as Eleanor. Same way of chewing, soft and patient. I couldn't speak. My throat felt heavy with old ghosts. After a while I asked, "Where did you come from?" The taller one swallowed hard. "Mama said to find you," she whispered. The word Mama twisted in my chest. I leaned closer. "Who is your mama?" Both answered together. "Eleanor Ross." The room went silent. Even the fire stopped crackling for a moment. Mary dropped the spoon she was holding. I stood up fast, chair scraping the floor. "That's not funny," I said, voice shaking. The smaller girl looked frightened. "I'm not lying," she said softly. Mary whispered, "Daniel, sit down." "They're just children." I sat. But my heart didn't. It ran wild inside my chest. I said, "Your mama." "She's gone." The taller one frowned. "No, she told us you'd say that." "What do you mean?" I asked, she said. The girl continued, "Tell him I'm sorry." Tell him I had to. My head spun. The room felt smaller, hotter. Mary touched my arm. Maybe some traveler told them about Eleanor, she said quietly. But the girls didn't hear her. They reached into a small cloth bag. Here, the smaller one said. She handed me a silver locket. I froze. My fingers trembled as I opened it. Inside was a picture, Eleanor's face, smiling, and a lock of her hair. My heart cracked open like dry wood under fire. I whispered, "Where did you get this?" "She wore it," the taller one said. "She gave it to us before we left." "Left from where?" I asked quickly. "A house near the hills," she said. "She told us to walk east till we find you." I looked at Mary. She looked at me. Neither of us could speak for a long moment. Mary finally said, "Daniel, these girls look like her." I nodded slowly. "They do." The taller one asked, "Are you angry?" I blinked fast. "No, just lost." The smaller one reached across the table and touched my hand. Her fingers were cold, small, gentle. "Mama said you'd be kind," she said. Tears rose before I could stop them. I turned away, wiping my face. Mary spoke softly. "We should get them warm, Daniel." "Yes," I said. "The guest room." The taller girl smiled faintly. "We can share." Mary led them upstairs. Their footsteps were light, like memories walking. When the door closed, I sat there staring at the locket. It shone under the lamp. 8 years since I buried her name. 8 years since I cried. And now 2 little ghosts had walked in with her eyes. Later that night, I couldn't sleep. I sat by the fire, the locket in my palm. The wind outside whistled like a voice. Mary came quietly. "You still awake?" I nodded. "I can't stop thinking." She poured me coffee. "You think it's real?" she asked. "I don't know," I said. "But those eyes, Mary." "I'd know them in the dark," she sighed. "Maybe she left something behind we didn't know." I looked at the flames. I buried her with that locket. Mary's hand covered her mouth. "Then how?" "That's what I want to find out." She sat beside me. "If they are hers, Daniel?" "They're yours too." I nodded slowly. "I know." Silence filled the room. The fire popped softly. Mary said, "Do you remember the accident?" "I remember the rain," I said. "The wagon sliding off the road. The water taking everything. They said they found her scarf." "Nothing else." Mary looked down. "Maybe she lived." My heart wanted to believe. But my mind fought it. "I saw the wreck," I said. "I saw the river swallow her." Mary nodded. "But the river gives back what it takes." Her words stayed with me long after she went to bed. At dawn, I heard soft voices. The girls were awake. I found them in the yard feeding crumbs to the chickens. The smaller one smiled. "They like us." "They don't like anyone," I said, half smiling. The taller one asked, "Is this our home now?" I froze. Home. The word hit deep. "Maybe," I said. "If you want it to be." They both nodded eagerly. Their laughter broke something heavy inside me. Mary came out with milk. "You girls slept well?" "Yes," they said together. "Your beds were soft?" The smaller one said, "Too soft." I kept sinking. Mary laughed. "That's a good problem." I watched them chase each other around the barn. The morning sun made their hair glow gold. "Eleanor's gold." Mary whispered near me, "They belong here." I nodded. Maybe they always did. Later I sat on the porch. The locket rested on my knee. The girls played by the fence, singing a tune I remembered. It was Eleanor's song. The same lullaby she used to hum while sewing. My throat closed. "Where did you learn that song?" I asked. "Our mama sang it," Lydia said. "When?" "Every night," she said. Before the fire, I felt my stomach tighten. "What fire?" Lila stopped running. "The one that took her." I stood up quickly. "Took her?" They both nodded. "She told us to run." She said, "Go to your father. He will help you." I knelt down, trying to keep my voice steady. "When was this?" 3 nights ago," Lydia said. Mary came running from the house, worry on her face. "What's wrong?" I looked up at her. "There was a fire," she gasped. "Where?" I looked at the girls. "Near the hills." They nodded together. Mary's eyes filled with fear. "Daniel, what if she's—" I interrupted softly. "Alive." The word felt strange, fragile, but real. Alive. I looked at the twins again. Their faces, their voices, their song. It was her. It was Eleanor living in them. I stood and took a deep breath. "Mary," I said, "we're riding to the hills." She frowned. "Now?" "Yes," I said. "If there's even a chance." The smaller girl tugged my sleeve. "Mama said not to go until sunset," she whispered. I looked down. "She said that?" "Yes, she said the road is dangerous in daylight." Mary and I exchanged looks. The night was colder than usual. The wind moved through the trees, whispering like it knew my name. I couldn't sleep. The twins were already dreaming, their soft breathing filling the quiet house. I sat by the old lamp in the hallway, looking at Eleanor's door. It had been closed for 8 years. Every time I passed it, something inside me twisted. That night, I couldn't walk away again. I took the lamp and pushed the door open. Dust rose like ghosts. The air smelled of old wood, faint lavender and thyme. "Mary," I called softly. Her voice came from the kitchen. "You can't rest again, can you?" "No," I said. "Not tonight." She stepped in, wiping her hands on her apron. Her eyes followed mine to the dark room. "Still chasing the past?" she asked. "Maybe," I said. "Or maybe it's chasing me." Mary sighed. "You think you'll find her ghost here?" I shook my head. "I just need to feel close to her again." She looked at me for a long moment. "Don't wake the girls," she said, and left me with the silence. The lamp's light danced across the walls. Her dress still hung by the window, faded and gray. Her old comb lay on the dresser. Everything was still where she left it. I touched the mirror. "It felt cold, like it never forgot, Eleanor," I whispered. "What did you leave me?" The floor creaked under my boot. The sound was sharp, hollow, different. I knelt down, ran my fingers along the wood, and felt a loose edge. My heart started to race. I pushed the lamp closer. The board lifted slightly when I pressed. "What are you hiding, love?" I said under my breath. I grabbed a knife from the nightstand and pried it open. Dust and small splinters fell away. Inside was a folded piece of paper, yellowed with age. A letter. I stared at it for a long time. My hands shook. Her handwriting, neat, soft, and real. I sat on the floor and opened it. The ink had faded, but her words were clear. "If you read this, I couldn't come back. I had to protect them. Forgive me. You must believe I loved you." I had no choice. The letters blurred. I blinked hard, my chest tightening. Protect them? Who? The twins? I read it again, slower this time. The last line said, "Don't trust the man who called himself your friend." My blood turned cold. Jonas Hale. I stood up fast, knocking over the lamp. It fell, the flame flickering but not dying. "No," I whispered. "No, this can't be. Jonas was there the night she died." He told me the wagon tipped in the rain. He helped me dig her grave. I felt my stomach twist. I remembered his hand on my shoulder that day, heavy, almost too comforting. "Daniel," he'd said, "life's cruel. But you'll survive." He said it like a man who already knew the ending. I heard a small voice behind me. "Daddy?" Lydia stood in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. Her hair was messy, her small hand holding the locket she always wore. "What are you doing, Daddy?" she asked. I hid the letter quickly behind me. "Nothing, sweetheart." "Couldn't sleep." She walked closer. "Is this Mama's room?" "Yes," I said softly. "It was." She touched the old mirror with her fingers. Did she look like me? I swallowed hard. "Exactly like you," Lydia smiled faintly. "Then maybe she's not gone." Her words hit me like a hammer. I forced a smile. "Maybe you're right." I tucked the letter into my coat pocket and lifted her into my arms. "Back to bed now," I said gently. "Tell me a story?" She whispered. "Tomorrow," I said. "I promise." She nodded against my shoulder. "You always promise." Her small voice made something break in me again. "I keep my promises, love," I whispered back. When I laid her down beside her sister, I saw the locket again. Silver, heart-shaped, with a tiny flower engraved on top. I remembered giving one just like it to Eleanor on our wedding day. When I returned to the room, the air felt heavier. I sat on the floor again, staring at the open space beneath the boards. My hands still trembled. Why did she say protect them? Who was them? And why Jonas? The twins' faces flashed in my mind. Same eyes, same hair. If they were born after her death. I stopped breathing for a moment. Could she have lived? Could she have hidden? I looked at the letter again. It wasn't long, but it screamed with silence. "Don't trust the man who called himself your friend." I whispered it aloud. Jonas. The name felt like poison in my mouth. I poured a drink, hands unsteady. The whiskey burned my throat. Mary came back holding a shawl. "You look like you saw a ghost," she said. "Maybe I did," I said quietly. She frowned. What did you find? I hesitated. A letter. Her eyes narrowed. From Eleanor? Yes. What did it say? Enough to keep me awake for years. She stepped closer. Daniel, what are you planning? I looked at her. I need to know what really happened. After all this time. Especially after all this time. Mary sighed. You think Jonas lied? I think he did more than lie, I said. Her voice softened. You can't go looking for ghosts. They bite. I don't care if they bite, I said. I just want the truth. She looked at me with tired eyes. Be careful, Daniel. You still have those girls now. I know, I said. That's why I have to do this. When she left, I took the lamp again. I searched every corner of the room. Drawers, closet, bed frame. Nothing else. Just dust and old memories. Then under the bed I found a ribbon. Blue, frayed, still tied in a small knot. I remembered Eleanor wearing it the day before she died. I held it tight in my hand. I should have looked sooner, I whispered. The wind outside grew stronger. It rattled the window like a warning. I sat there until the lamp began to fade. The shadows grew long, swallowing the walls. When morning came, I saddled the horse. Mary met me by the porch, arms crossed. You're going to town, aren't you? She said, yes. To see Jonas? I nodded. He owes me the truth. She handed me a small lunch bag. At least eat before you do something foolish. I smiled faintly. You always take care of fools, don't you? She gave me a sad smile. Only the good ones. As I mounted the horse, she called after me. Daniel, whatever you find, don't let it break you again. I looked back at her. I already broke once, I said. Now I'm just looking for the pieces. The road stretched long and empty. The sun rose behind me, painting the hills in gold. I felt the letter in my pocket, heavy like a stone. I pulled it out once more, reading the words under my breath. If you read this, I couldn't come back. I had to protect them. The wind picked up, carrying dust and the faint smell of rain. I pressed the letter to my chest. I'll find you, I whispered. Or what's left of you. The horse moved faster. The ranch disappeared behind me. The road ahead looked endless, like a promise I couldn't escape. The road to town was dry and bright that morning. Dust rose behind the wagon wheels. The twins sat close, quiet and wide-eyed. Is it far, Daddy? Lila asked. Not far, I said. You'll see the rooftops soon. Lydia held my arm. Mama said you live near the river. I nodded. I still do. The horses slowed near the old sign. Welcome to Miller's Creek. 8 years. I hadn't been here since the funeral. The girls looked at the stores, the people, the sound. I felt every stare like a nail. We stopped in front of the sheriff's office. I tied the reins and helped them down. Stay near me, I said. Don't wander. They nodded. Their small hands gripped my coat as we stepped inside. Deputy Owen sat behind the desk, boots on the table. He looked up, then froze. Morning, I said. He stood fast. Mr. Ross, I didn't expect... I need information, I said. About Jonas Hale. His eyes shifted. Jonas still runs the freight line. Why? I took a breath. Because my wife's name came up again. He blinked. Your wife? But she had twins, I said. 9 years ago. The room went still. He looked at the girls, then back at me. Good Lord, he whispered. They look just like her. I leaned closer. Where's Jonas now? Owen rubbed his neck. Probably at the saloon. He plays cards there. He still lives rich, I hear. Owen hesitated. He does well. Freight business grew fast after she passed. I nodded slowly. I remember. Owen lowered his voice. You sure you want to stir old dirt? I've lived in dirt too long, I said. It's time to breathe. He looked at me, then at the girls. They don't need to see what's in that saloon. They'll stay outside, I said. He sighed. Be careful, Daniel. Jonas ain't the man he used to be. Neither am I. Outside, the air felt heavy. The twins looked up at me. Who is Jonas? Lydia asked. An old friend, I said. One I need to talk to. Does he know Mama? Lila asked. I paused. Yes, he knew her well. They nodded but said nothing. Children sense what we don't say. I left them near the general store with Mrs. Ethel, the old neighbor. she gasped when she saw me. Daniel Ross, heaven above, thought you'd gone east. I came back, I said. Can you watch the girls? Her eyes widened at the twins. Mercy, they have Eleanor's face. I swallowed hard. Yes, they do. She patted my arm. Go on, son, I'll keep them safe. The saloon smelled of whiskey and dust. Piano keys clanged somewhere behind the smoke. I walked through slowly. Men turned, whispering. Some knew my face. Some only guessed. Jonas sat at a corner table counting chips. He looked older, heavier, but his eyes were the same. When he saw me, his hand froze. Then he smiled wide. Well, I'll be damned, he said. Daniel Ross, the ghost himself. I didn't smile. Jonas? He stood and clapped my shoulder. What brings you back, old friend? I came to see you. After all these years, he said. You sure you're not here to haunt me? Not yet, I said. He laughed, though his voice cracked. Still dry as the desert, eh? I sat. You got rich after Eleanor died. The laughter stopped. He leaned back. Business grew, that's all. Freight business, wasn't it? Still is. He poured 2 drinks. You want one? No. He lifted his glass. To the past, then. I stared at him. You were there that night. He blinked. What night? The crash. The wagon went over the ridge. He shrugged. You remember wrong. I wasn't near that road. I remember your horse prints. He smiled thinly. You were half dead, Daniel. You saw ghosts. I clenched my jaw. Maybe, but the ghosts came back. He laughed softly. What are you talking about? I met 2 girls today, I said. Twins, same eyes as Eleanor. He went still, glass halfway to his lips. The color drained from his face. That's impossible, he said quietly. They call me Daddy, I said. You tell me if it's impossible. He set the glass down slowly. Where are they? Safe, I said. That's all you need to know. He looked away. You shouldn't have come. Maybe not. But I'm here. He rubbed his temples. Daniel, you don't understand. Then make me understand. He looked at me for a long time. Then he smiled again, but this time it was forced. Eleanor was special. You know that. I know she was my wife. She deserved better than a poor ranch life, he said. I felt heat rise in my chest. Better than me, you mean? He shrugged. She wanted comfort. I could give it. I stood. So you took her? He smirked. She came to me. I slammed my hand on the table. Liar. Chairs scraped. Men turned. Jonas raised both hands. Careful, old friend. People might think you're threatening me. I'm not threatening, I said. I'm remembering. A man in a vest stepped between us. Problem here, Mr. Hale? Jonas smiled coldly. None at all. I stepped closer. You forged her death. You burned the records. He looked startled, then recovered. You sound mad, Daniel. Careful what you say. I leaned near his ear. You'll see mad soon. He laughed again, but it shook. Go back to your ranch. Let ghosts stay buried. I stared hard at him. Ghosts don't knock on my door and call me Daddy. His smile vanished. Then you'd better pray they stay alive. The saloon went quiet. My hands curled into fists. For a second, I wanted to drag him through the street. But I saw the pistol on his belt and the fear in his eyes. I turned. This isn't over, he called after me. It never is, Daniel. Not in this town. I didn't look back. Outside, the twins ran to me. Daddy, Mrs. Ethel bought us candy. I forced a smile. The first thunder rolled before sundown. I smelled rain before it came. The sky turned heavy, dark and full of warning. Mary stood by the door, folding sheets. Storm's coming, she said. I know, I said. The air feels different. The twins were on the porch, chasing the wind. Inside, I called. Now. They ran in, laughing, hair wild. Lydia said, It's only wind, Daddy. It's not just wind, I said. It's trouble, she frowned. Is it scary? I smiled a little. Only if you stand in it. Mary shut the windows. The smell of dust filled the room. "Rain's been waiting all week," she said. "Tonight it'll break," I nodded. Let it come. When the rain started, it hit the roof hard. The sound drowned every thought. Lila leaned against me, watching drops slide down the glass. "Do you like the rain?" she asked. "I used to," I said. "Now it reminds me of something lost." She tilted her head. "Mama?" The word cut deep. "Yes," I said softly. "Your mama." She smiled faintly. "She likes rain too." The fire cracked. Mary glanced up. "Did she say that?" Lila nodded. "She said rain hides tears." I felt the room tighten. I stood and went to the window. Outside, the world had turned to water. By nightfall, Lydia started coughing. It was sharp, deep, the kind that scared me. Her small body shook as she tried to breathe. "Mary!" I called. She came running. "What is it?" "Lydia's sick," I said. Bad cough. Mary touched the girl's forehead. "Hot," she whispered. "She's burning up." I grabbed my hat. "I'll get the doctor." "Daniel, the rain." "I don't care," I said. "She needs help." I ran into the storm. The wind pushed against me like an enemy. The road turned to mud beneath my boots. Lightning flashed white across the hills. By the time I reached the doctor's house, I was soaked to the bone. I pounded on the door. "Dr. Harris, open up." After a long moment, the door creaked. He stood there, lamp in hand, eyes squinting. "Ross? Lord, you look half drowned." "My daughter," I said, out of breath. "She's burning up." He nodded quickly. "Get the wagon." "I'll come." We rode back through sheets of rain. The wheels groaned, mud flying. The lightning lit the sky every few seconds like angry fire. Dr. Harris said, "How old's the girl?" 9, I said. "Her sister, too? Twins?" He asked. "Yes," I said. "Found me a month ago." He gave a small frown. "Found you?" I didn't answer. The words felt too strange to explain. He sighed. "We'll talk later." When we reached the ranch, Mary opened the door. "She's worse," she said. "She keeps calling for someone." Dr. Harris went straight to her bed. The lamplight flickered across his face. He pressed a hand to her forehead, then looked closer. "What's her name?" he asked quietly. "Lydia," I said. He froze. His eyes shifted to me, then to the girl again. "Lydia Ross?" "Yes," I said. "Why?" He stared at her, pale. Then he whispered, "It can't be." "What?" I said sharply. "What can't?" He didn't answer. He just kept looking. Then he said softly, "And the other, her name?" "Lila," I said. He dropped the cloth in his hand. For a moment, the only sound was thunder. I felt my chest tighten. "Doctor, what's wrong?" He took a step back. I've seen these children before." My breath caught. "What do you mean?" He swallowed hard. "I delivered them, Daniel." 9 years ago. The room went still. Mary stopped breathing for a second. Even the storm outside seemed to wait. "You what?" I said. Dr. Harris met my eyes. "Your wife was alive. She came to me that night, hurt, scared. She said she had to disappear." I felt the world tilt. "That's impossible," I said. "She died. I buried her." He shook his head. "You buried a fire victim from the wagon." "Not her. She escaped. Jonas Hale told her you were in danger." I took a step back, gripping the chair. Rain pounded the roof harder. Lightning flashed white through the window. "She begged me to keep her secret," he continued. "She said if you knew, Jonas would destroy you both." I felt dizzy. I whispered, "She's alive?" He nodded. "She was." "And these girls, your daughters, she raised them in hiding." My knees went weak. I sat down, trying to breathe. Mary's voice trembled. "Oh, dear Lord." I looked at Lydia, her small face pale under sweat. I touched her hair gently. "She's mine," I said. "All this time." Dr. Harris nodded. "She said you'd find them when it was safe." I stood up slowly. "Why tell me now?" I asked. He sighed. "Because it's time." "The girls found you?" "The lie's over." I shook my head. "No, I buried my wife. I mourned her." "Don't tell me it was all a lie." He looked at me sadly. "It wasn't your lie. It was hers. And Jonas's." Mary whispered, "Jonas Hale." I knew that man was trouble. Dr. Harris nodded. "He wanted her. He told her he'd ruin you if she didn't vanish." She believed him. I clenched my fists. "And she let me suffer all these years?" He said quietly, "She thought she was saving you." I laughed bitterly. "Saving me?" I lived like a ghost. He didn't answer. Only thunder spoke for him. Lila peeked from the corner, frightened. Is Lydia okay? She asked. Dr. Harris turned to her. She'll be fine, sweetheart. She's strong. I knelt and held her hand. Did your mama ever talk about me? I asked softly. She nodded. Every night. What did she say? She said you were brave, that you'd forgive her one day. My throat closed. She said that? Yes, Lila whispered. She said you had the kindest heart. I looked at Dr. Harris. Where is she now? He hesitated. I don't know. I haven't seen her in months. But she's out there. I stared into the rain. Every drop felt like a heartbeat. I could almost hear her voice in the wind. Mary said softly, You should rest, Daniel. I can't, I said. Not tonight. Dr. Harris packed his bag. I'll stay until morning. Lydia coughed again, weaker now. He gave her medicine and covered her with a blanket. She'll make it, he said. Children like her always do, I nodded. She has her mother's strength. He looked at me carefully. And her father's courage. After midnight, the rain slowed. The fire burned low. I sat near the bed, watching Lydia breathe. Her small hand rested in mine. Dr. Harris dozed in the chair. Mary hummed softly from the next room. The storm had left puddles on the floor by the door. I could smell wet earth and smoke. Outside, the thunder was fading. I whispered, Eleanor, you lived. The name felt strange again, alive on my tongue. 9 years of silence, and now truth crashed in like the storm. I looked at my daughters. The proof of love I thought was buried. I whispered again, Why didn't you come back? The rain gave no answer. Only the wind moved through the house, soft and sad. Dr. Harris stirred. You should rest, he said quietly. I can't, I said. If I close my eyes, I'll see her. He nodded slowly. Then remember her as she was. Tomorrow we find the rest of the truth. I nodded. Tomorrow. The firelight flickered across Lydia's face. Her breathing eased. For the first time in years, I wasn't afraid of the dark. The rain had washed something clean inside me. Outside, the clouds broke open. A faint light spread across the horizon. Morning was coming, and with it, answers. The morning started quiet. No wind, no birds, only fog moving slow over the hills. I stood on the porch with my coffee, watching the gray light crawl across the land. The world looked half asleep. Then I saw her, a shape moving through the mist. At first I thought it was a trick, like memory pretending to breathe again. But the figure came closer, step by step, slow, careful, real. My hand shook. The cup slipped and hit the ground. Coffee splashed across the wood. I couldn't move. Mary, I called, my voice cracked. Someone's out there. Mary came out, wiping her hands. Who is it? She asked. I don't know, I said. Looks like a woman. Mary squinted into the fog. Oh, Lord, she whispered. Do you see what I see? I didn't answer, because I saw her face. It was Eleanor. She looked thinner. Her hair had silver in it now. Her dress was torn at the hem. But her eyes, God, those eyes. The same blue I remembered when we married under the old oak tree. I took one step forward, then another. The ground felt heavy, like walking through a dream that didn't want me to wake. Eleanor, I said. The name came out small. I hadn't said it in 8 years. She stopped 10 steps away. Her hands trembled. Her lips moved before sound came. Daniel, she whispered. My knees weakened. Is it really you? She nodded. Then she fell to the ground, crying hard, her body shaking. I wanted to come back, she said. I tried, but I couldn't. I knelt beside her. The dirt was cold under my hands. I wanted to hold her, but I didn't know if I should. Why? I asked. My voice broke like old wood. Why didn't you come home? She looked up at me through tears. Because he said he'd destroy you. Who? Jonas, she said. The name hit me like a stone. Jonas Hale, my old friend. The man I trusted more than my own blood. What did he do? I asked. She shook her head. Not here, please. I stood and looked toward the house. Mary, I said quietly, bring water. And food. Mary's hand covered her mouth, but she nodded and went inside. The girls were on the porch now. Lydia and Lila. They held each other's hands. Their eyes wide. Mama? One of them whispered. Eleanor turned. Her breath caught. She opened her arms without words. The twins ran to her, crying. Mama, Mama! Eleanor hugged them tight, pressing their faces against her chest. Her sobs filled the air like music and pain mixed together. I couldn't move. I just watched. My chest felt too full to breathe. Mary came out with a blanket and a cup of water. Eleanor took them with shaking hands. "Thank you," she whispered. Mary touched her shoulder gently. "You're safe now, child." We sat on the porch. The fog lifted slow, letting the morning light find us. I couldn't stop staring at her. Every scar, every wrinkle, every tear, proof she had lived somewhere I couldn't reach. She looked at me finally. "I dreamed about this," she said softly. "Every night. The house, the road, the hills. I thought if I just kept walking, I'd find you." "You did," I said. "You found me." She smiled through tears. "I almost gave up. Where were you?" She looked down at the blanket. "I stayed near the border, in a small town. A woman named Nora took me in. I worked as a teacher for the children. All this time." "Yes. Why didn't you send word?" Her voice shook. "Jonas found me once. He said if I ever told you the truth, he'd take everything you owned. The ranch, the land, your freedom. He said no one would believe me." I clenched my fists. "That bastard." She reached for my hand. "Don't," she said softly. "Please, don't let hate eat you." It already ate me. I looked at her hand in mine. The same hand that used to hold my heart steady. It felt smaller now, fragile but alive. "I buried you," I said quietly. I stood by an empty coffin. "I talked to the dirt for years." Her eyes filled again. "I know, I saw it. I was hiding near the trees that day. I wanted to run to you, but Jonas had men watching. He said he'd kill you if I did." My chest burned. "You watched your own funeral?" She nodded. "I wanted to scream your name. But I couldn't. I had to protect you, and them." She looked toward the girls who were sitting near Mary now, whispering to each other. I took a deep breath. "Eleanor," I said, "you could have trusted me." She shook her head. "You don't understand how scared I was. I was pregnant when I escaped. I didn't even know I was carrying twins." I froze. "Pregnant?" She nodded. "Dr. Harris helped me. He delivered them in secret. He promised not to tell anyone." I leaned back against the porch post, staring at the dirt. "So that's why he looked at them like he'd seen ghosts." She wiped her eyes. "He's a good man. He kept his promise. And Jonas? He tried to find me again. But when the twins were born, I went farther west. I changed my name. I worked, saved, and waited. When the twins grew old enough to ask about their father, I told them your name." I looked at the girls. They were laughing softly now, touching the old cat near the steps. "It felt like sunlight after endless winter. I didn't know if you'd still want us," she said suddenly. I turned to her. "Don't say that. I changed, Daniel. I'm not the woman you buried." "Good," I said, "because I'm not the man who buried you." She looked up, surprised. I smiled a little. Grief made me quiet, but it didn't kill me. Her shoulders shook as she cried again. I reached out, finally, and pulled her close. Her head rested against my chest. I felt her heartbeat. It was fast, alive, real. "God," I whispered. "You're real?" "I am," she said softly. "And I'm sorry." "For what?" "For leaving you alone with ghosts." I kissed her hair. "You didn't leave. You survived." Hours passed. Mary made soup. The girls told stories, their voices soft but bright. The ranch felt alive again, like a heart remembering how to beat. When the sun dropped behind the hills, I sat beside Eleanor on the porch swing. The air smelled like rain coming. The sky turned gold, then gray. She said quietly, "Jonas won't stop. He'll come for you now that he knows I'm back." I looked at her. "Let him come. You can't fight him alone." "I won't be alone," I said. "I have you. And I have them." She touched my arm. "Promise me you won't let hate win." "I promise," I said. She smiled. "That's all I need." We sat in silence. The crickets started to sing. The twins ran around the yard chasing fireflies, their laughter echoing. I watched them with tears in my eyes. For years my world had been made of graves and silence. Now it was made of laughter and light. Eleanor whispered, "Do you still love me?" I looked at her. "Yes," I said. I never stopped. She closed her eyes, and a tear slid down her cheek. "I prayed you'd say that." Later, as the first drops of rain fell, I walked her to the door. She hesitated before stepping in. "This house smells the same," she said. "Like wood and memory." "It waited for you," I said. She smiled faintly. The wind hit hard when I left the ranch that morning. The sky was gray, like it already knew what I planned to do. Eleanor stood on the porch with the twins beside her. They looked at me the way I used to look at God, hoping for a miracle. "Don't go alone," she said. "I have to," I told her. It's my turn now. Her eyes filled with fear. Jonas won't stop at words. Neither will I said. The twins clung to her dress. Daddy, come back soon, one whispered. I will, I promised. I wasn't sure if it was true. The horse's hooves beat against the road like a heartbeat. Dust rose behind me as I rode toward town. My mind ran faster than the horse. Every thought felt sharp. Every breath tasted of hate. When I reached Main Street, people turned to stare. They hadn't seen me ride this fast in years. Some whispered my name. Others stepped aside. They remembered the widower who buried a wife who never died. Stopped in front of the red brick office of Jonas Hale, Freight & Co. His name was painted, bold across the sign, bright gold letters that mocked me. I tied the horse and walked in. The air inside smelled of cigars and greed. Jonas sat behind a polished desk, his boots on a stool. He smiled like a man greeting a customer. Well, if it isn't Daniel Ross, he said. The ghost of the plains himself. I stayed quiet. He leaned back in his chair. What brings you here? Need work, need money. I said nothing. He grinned wider. Or maybe you finally realized you owe me thanks. I kept your land from being swallowed up when you lost everything. I stepped closer. You mean when you stole everything? His smile faltered for a second, then returned. Big words for a man who signs papers without reading them. I didn't sign those, I said. He laughed. Of course you did. I saw your name. I pulled the folded papers from my coat. They're not my name, I said. I tossed them on his desk. Jonas looked down. For a moment, the room went still. The clock ticked loud on the wall. He ran his thumb over the signature. Where did you get these? He asked softly. From your mistake, I said. His eyes narrowed. Eleanor told you? Yes, I said. She told me everything. Jonas leaned back slowly, face cold. Well, he said. I wondered how long it would take her to crawl back. I clenched my fists. She didn't crawl. She survived, he smirked. Same thing. Not for her, I said. She lived in fear while you lived rich. Jonas shrugged. Everyone lives off someone. That's life. You faked her death, I said. You burned a wagon with another woman's body inside. You made me bury her. He laughed again, louder this time. The sound echoed off the walls. Do you have proof? He said. Go on, tell the sheriff your fairy tale. See who believes the broken rancher and his ghost wife. I took one step closer. I don't need proof for justice. His hand moved to the drawer. I saw the silver glint of a pistol. Easy, Daniel, he said. You don't want this. I already lost everything, I said. What else can you take? Jonas stood up. You could lose her again. Think of that, I froze. What do you mean? He smiled thinly. Do you think I don't know where she hides? Where your little girls sleep. Something snapped inside me. I reached across the desk, grabbed his collar, and slammed him back into the wall. The pistol fell from his hand, clattering to the floor. You took my wife, I said, my voice shaking. You took my years. You took my peace. He tried to push me off. You don't understand. I understand enough, I said. You lied to her. You lied to me. You lied to God. He spat blood on the floor. You were weak. She deserved more. I hit him once. His head struck the wall hard. Blood ran down his cheek. More than what? I said. He coughed. More than a farmer stuck in grief. I hit him again. The rage burned like fire in my chest. I didn't stop until he slid down the wall, breathing hard. He looked up at me and whispered, Kill me then. I stared down at him, chest heaving. The gun lay between us. No, I said. I don't want your death. I want your name, he frowned. My name? You built your empire with my land, my wife's pain, my blood. Now everyone will know what you did. Your gold letters on that sign will mean nothing. He tried to laugh, but his mouth bled. You think anyone will believe you? I picked up the pistol, opened the chamber, and emptied the bullets onto his desk. They'll believe this, I said, dropping the forged documents beside them. They'll believe her. They'll believe the children who bear her face. Jonas watched me walk to the door. Daniel, he said. I turned. He leaned forward, breathing heavy. She came to me first, he said. Did she tell you that? My hand tightened on the doorframe. She needed help, he continued. You were too proud to give it. She trusted you, I said quietly. He smiled through blood. Exactly. I stepped closer again, my heart pounding. If I find one lie in that, I'll come back. He chuckled weakly. You already did. I left before I did something I couldn't take back. Outside, the town was silent. People stared through windows as I walked toward my horse. The sheriff's deputy, Owen, stood near the post. He nodded at me. Heard shouting, I said. Just truth catching up to a liar. He raised a brow. You plan to press charges? Not yet, I said. He'll hang himself soon enough. Owen looked uneasy. You sure about that? I met his eyes. He's scared now. Scared men make mistakes. The deputy nodded slowly. You need help? I need peace, I said. I climbed onto the horse and turned back toward the road. Behind me, the sign with Jonas's name gleamed gold in the sunlight. But all I saw was rust. The ride home felt longer. My anger cooled, replaced by something heavier, sorrow. The kind that didn't scream, only whispered. When I reached the ranch, the twins ran out to meet me. Daddy, they cried. You're back. I slid off the horse, lifted them both, and held them close. Their small arms around my neck felt like forgiveness. Eleanor came out next. Her eyes searched my face. You did it? I faced him, I said. And? She whispered. He's still breathing, I said. But his lies won't. She nodded slowly, tears in her eyes. I wanted to see him pay, she said softly. He will, I said. The truth always collects its debt. She looked at me long, then touched my cheek. You didn't become him. That matters, I swallowed hard. It doesn't feel like enough. It is, she said. You came home. The twins pulled at my sleeve. Did the bad man say sorry? I knelt beside them. Not yet, I said. But someday he will. They nodded as if they believed me. Maybe they did. Maybe children understand forgiveness better than grown men. That night, the house was quiet again. The air smelled of smoke before I saw the light. It was night, but the sky glowed red behind the town. I rode fast, the horse's hooves hitting the dirt hard. Stay calm, I whispered. Please, not them. When I reached Main Street, the courthouse was burning. Flames climbed the windows like claws. People screamed, running with buckets of water. Jonas did it, someone shouted. He's inside. I jumped off the horse and pushed through the crowd. The fire roared loud, hot wind slapping my face. I saw Owen, the deputy, coughing near the door. Where are they? I shouted. He pointed toward the stairs. Your girls. Eleanor, too. They ran inside looking for you. My chest went cold. Inside? He grabbed my arm. You can't go, Daniel. The floor's falling apart. I'm not leaving them. I shouted. Move! He tried to stop me, but I pushed past. Smoke filled my mouth, bitter and thick. I covered my face with my sleeve and ran in. Inside was hell. Wood cracked above me. The heat bit my skin. Eleanor! I yelled. Lydia, Lila. A faint voice answered through the smoke. Daniel, here! I ran toward it, tripping over broken chairs. Flames rolled down the walls like waves. I saw her, Eleanor, holding both girls under a fallen beam. Don't come! She cried. The roof, I'm coming. I coughed hard. Hold on. I grabbed a burning plank and threw it aside. The girls cried, Daddy! Their small voices cut through everything else. I reached them and pulled them close. Eleanor's face was red with heat. You shouldn't have come, she said. I'm not losing you again, I said. She shook her head. Jonas locked the door. He's gone mad. I turned and saw him then, Jonas on the stairs waving a torch. His face was twisted, eyes wild. You won't take my life from me, Daniel, he shouted. If I burn, everything burns. Jonas, I yelled. Stop. There are children here. He laughed, a dry, broken sound. They're her lies. Your lies, Eleanor cried. Jonas, please. Not the girls. He threw the torch toward us. It hit the railing, fire spreading fast. Run! I grabbed Eleanor's hand. Move! Jonas tried to come down, but the stairs cracked beneath him. He screamed as wood snapped, fire swallowing him. I didn't look again. We ran through the hall. The ceiling groaned like thunder. Lydia tripped, crying, I can't see, she said. I lifted her into my arms. Close your eyes. Daddy, I'm scared, Lila said. I know, I said. Hold Mama's hand. Eleanor coughed hard. The back door, it's near the office. I nodded. Stay low. Follow my voice. We crawled through the smoke. Heat pressed against my back. The roof began to fall behind us. At the end of the hall, I saw faint light. The back door, half open, flames licking the edges. I kicked it hard. It didn't move. Locked, I shouted. Eleanor hit it with her shoulder. Try again! I stepped back, kicked once more. The wood cracked. One more kick. It burst open, cold air rushing in. Go! I pushed Eleanor first. She carried Lila through the gap. I followed with Lydia, coughing hard. We stumbled into the alley behind the courthouse. Rain started to fall, soft, almost too late. Eleanor fell to her knees, holding the girls tight. They cried into her arms. I leaned against the wall, breathing smoke. My hands shook. I was shaking all over. "They're safe," I said, voice rough. "You're safe." Eleanor looked up at me, tears cutting lines through the soot. "Jonas," she whispered. I looked back at the flames. The building was falling in on itself. He was still inside. Owen came running toward us. "Daniel, thank God! You're alive!" "The girls?" he asked. "They're fine," I said. "But Jonas, he's in there." Owen looked at the fire, face pale. "It's too late," I nodded slowly. "I know." The roof collapsed with a deep crash. Sparks flew into the night sky like stars. People gathered around, whispering prayers. Someone said, "He brought this on himself." Another voice whispered, "Maybe God wanted the truth out." I didn't speak. I just watched the fire die. Eleanor touched my arm. "Daniel," she said softly. "Let's go home." "Home," I repeated. The word felt strange in my mouth. She took my hand, fingers trembling. The twins followed, holding on to her dress. We walked through the rain, past people staring. They looked at me like I came back from the grave. Maybe I did. At the wagon, I helped the girls climb in. Eleanor sat beside them, wrapping a blanket around all three. She looked at me. "He's gone," she said. "Yes," I said. "But his fire won't reach us again." She nodded. Silence fell between us, soft as the rain. After a while, Lydia spoke. "Daddy?" "Yes, sweetheart?" "Are we going home now?" I smiled weakly. "Yes, we are," Lila asked. "Will the fire follow us?" "No," I said. "It's done." They leaned against their mother and fell asleep. As we rode out of town, I looked back once more. The courthouse was a black shadow, smoke rising into the sky. For years, that building held my pain. Now it was gone, like the lies it kept. Eleanor whispered. "He tried to destroy proof, but he burned his own sins instead." I nodded. "He built his grave with his own hands." Her voice trembled. "Do you hate him?" I thought for a moment. "I don't know. Maybe I should, but right now I just feel empty." She reached for my hand. "Then let the emptiness heal." I squeezed her fingers gently. "We'll start again." She leaned her head on my shoulder. "I never thought I'd see you again," she said. "I stopped believing in miracles," I said quietly. "But you walked out of the fire," she smiled faintly. "So did you." We reached the ranch before dawn. The air smelled of wet earth. The horses neighed softly as if welcoming us back. Mary ran out from the porch, eyes wide. "Lord have mercy." "You're alive!" Eleanor hugged her tight. The twins ran inside, laughing for the first time since the fire. Mary turned to me. "Jonas?" "Gone," I said. "The fire took him." She crossed herself. "Then maybe God finally ended it," I nodded. "Maybe he did." When the sun came up, I stood by the fence. Smoke still rose in the distance where the courthouse had stood. Eleanor came beside me, holding a cup of coffee. "Long night," she said. I smiled. "Longest of my life." She looked at the rising light. "But the day came anyway." "Yes," I said softly. The day came. For a moment, we stood in silence. The land glowed gold. The girls' laughter drifted from the house. I whispered. They called me Daddy. Eleanor smiled, eyes shining. The smell of smoke still lived in my clothes. The town looked gray that morning, covered in ash. I stood outside the jailhouse, hat in hand, watching rain wash the dirt away. Eleanor stood beside me, quiet. Her fingers brushed mine. "Are you sure you want to see him?" she asked. "I have to," I said. "It's the only way to end it." She nodded, but her eyes looked heavy. "He's not the same, Daniel. The fire took more than his face." "I know," I said. "But I need to look at what hate did, to him and to me." The sheriff opened the door. "He's awake now," he said. I nodded and stepped inside. The cell smelled of wet straw and medicine. Jonas sat on the cot, his hands wrapped in cloth. The left side of his face was burned, twisted, raw. He looked smaller, weaker. He lifted his head when he heard my boots. "Daniel," he said, his voice rough. I didn't answer. I stood near the bars watching him. "I didn't think you'd come," he said. "I almost didn't," I replied. "But I had to see what was left." He laughed, short and bitter. "Not much, as you can see." Silence stretched. Rain tapped against the roof like slow drums. I said, "You tried to burn the truth, but it burned you instead." Jonas looked down. I was drunk on greed, Daniel. On pride, you lied, I said. You took her from me. You took years I can't get back, he nodded. I know. His voice trembled. I see her in my sleep. I see you. I hear the girls crying in that fire. I clench my fists. You should. He looked up at me. Then you came back for revenge. I came back for peace, I said slowly. But peace doesn't come easy. Eleanor stepped into the cell doorway. She held her shawl tight around her shoulders. Jonas's eyes widened. You shouldn't be here, he whispered. I needed to see you, she said softly. I needed to know if you felt anything left. He nodded weakly. I feel everything. The pain, the shame. She looked at him for a long time. I once pitied you, she said. Now I don't even have that left. Jonas lowered his head. I deserve worse. Eleanor's voice broke a little. You almost destroyed my family, he whispered. I did destroy it. No, I said quietly. You tried. But it lived. The sheriff cleared his throat. Do you want me to stay? I shook my head. No, this is between us. He nodded and stepped outside. The door clicked shut, leaving only the sound of rain. Jonas looked at me. You still love her? I never stopped, I said. Even when I thought she was gone. He nodded slowly. That's what makes it worse. Why did you do it? I asked. Why fake her death? Why lie to everyone? He looked at the floor. Because I couldn't have her. Because you did. And because I was a coward who called it love. I stared at him, speechless for a moment. Then I said, that's not love? That's hunger. He closed his eyes. Call it what you want. It killed everything inside me, I sighed. You took everything from me once. Now life took everything from you. I guess that's how the world evens out. Eleanor stepped forward. Daniel, please. I looked at her. What? Let it end, she said softly. The fire's out. Don't let it burn inside you. Her words hit deep. I turned back to Jonas. He looked up, eyes wet. You want me to beg? No, I said. You already are, he nodded. Then say it. Tell me I'm damned, I shook my head. You don't need me to. You already punished yourself. Jonas covered his face with his hands. His shoulders shook as he cried. For a moment I almost pitied him, almost. Eleanor put her hand on my arm. Her touch pulled me back to the present. Come on, she whispered. The girls are waiting, I nodded slowly. Yeah, they've seen enough pain for one lifetime. As we turned to leave, Jonas spoke again. Daniel? I stopped. What? He said, thank you for coming, for not killing me when you should have. I looked back once. Don't thank me. Thank her. I pointed to Eleanor. She's the one who carried mercy. His eyes followed her as we walked out. He whispered something, but the rain drowned it out. Outside, the air felt cleaner. The rain fell harder now, washing black ash into the road. Eleanor pulled her shawl tighter. You did the right thing, she said. I don't know, I said quietly. It doesn't feel right. Peace never feels right at first, she said. I nodded. Maybe. We walked to the wagon where Mary waited with the twins. The girls were half asleep, curled under a blanket. Mary looked at me. Is it done? It's done, I said. She nodded. Then let's go home. The road out of town was muddy. Wheels sank. Horses pushed through the rain. Eleanor sat close beside me, quiet. Her hand rested on my arm. I said, You ever think about before? She looked at me. Every night. Does it haunt you? Sometimes, she said. But mostly I thank God we lived through it. I nodded. So do I. The twins stirred. One of them murmured, Mama? Eleanor smiled. Sleep, my love. We're almost home. Their small hands reached for her. Seeing them made something inside me ease. As the ranch came into view, I stopped the wagon. Smoke from the fire still marked the barn roof, but the rain had washed most of it away. I climbed down and stood in the wet dirt. Eleanor joined me. She said, It still smells like smoke. It will, I said. For a while, she looked at me. Can you forgive me, Daniel? I turned to her. For what? For not coming back sooner. I smiled faintly. You did come back. That's enough. Tears glimmered in her eyes. I didn't know if you'd still want me. I waited every day, I said. I just didn't know I was waiting. She touched my chest lightly. Your heart did. Rain slowed to a soft drizzle. We walked to the porch together. Mary brought the twins inside. The girls giggled as they kicked off their muddy boots. I stood there looking at the wide sky turning gray-blue. Eleanor came up behind me. What now? She asked. Now we live, I said. And we remember without hate. She smiled. That sounds like forgiveness. Maybe it is, I said. Later that night, I couldn't sleep. I walked outside again. The world smelled clean, new. Rain dripped from the eaves in slow rhythm. I whispered to the darkness, I forgive you, Jonas. The words felt strange, but light. A single bird called from the fence post. The sound echoed across the quiet ranch. I looked toward town, just a shadow in the distance now. Then I turned back toward the house. Light glowed from the window. Inside, I saw Eleanor reading to the twins. I smiled. My chest felt warm for the first time in years. The next morning, the sun rose pale and kind. The ash on the ground looked like silver dust. I fed the horses, cleaned the tools, fixed the fence. Every small act felt holy. When I walked back inside, Eleanor handed me coffee. You look lighter, she said. I feel it, I said. Like I put down a heavy stone, she touched my hand. That's forgiveness, I nodded. No, that's faith, she smiled. Same road, Daniel. I looked at her, then at the twins chasing each other around the table. The sound of their laughter filled the house. It sounded like life, I whispered. Thank you, God. For rain. For mercy. For home. The wind moved softly through the open door. I felt it. The morning came quiet and soft. I woke to the sound of chickens and laughter outside. The house smelled like coffee and warm bread. For a long time, I just sat there, listening. Eleanor's voice carried through the open window. Girls, be gentle with those hens. One of the twins laughed. Mama, they run too fast, I smiled. That sound, the sound of life, filled the old house again. After so many years of silence, it felt like music. I stood, stretched, and walked to the porch. The sun was rising over the hills, painting everything gold. The air was cool, clean, alive. For once, I didn't feel like a ghost in my own home. Eleanor turned when she saw me. Morning, she said softly. Morning, I replied. You slept better? I did, I said. First time in a long while, she smiled, brushing her hair back. You used to wake up before dawn. I used to talk to ghosts before dawn, I said quietly. Her smile faded a little. Do they still answer? Not anymore, I said. They finally rest. She nodded. Good, it's time they did. The twins came running up the porch steps. Lydia carried a basket of eggs. Lila held a small yellow chick in her hands. Daddy, look, Lydia said. We found 9 eggs. I grinned. 9? That's more than we had last week. Because I talked to the hens, Lila said proudly. You talked to them? Yes, she said. I told them Mama said to share. Eleanor laughed. Well, maybe that worked. Lydia set the basket down carefully. Can we ride the horses later? After breakfast, I said. Promise. They both cheered and ran back into the yard. Eleanor leaned against the porch rail, watching them. They look more like you every day. I see you in their eyes, I said. She smiled. Maybe they're both of us. Maybe that's how it should be, I said softly. Mary stepped out of the kitchen, wiping her hands. Coffee's ready, she said. Fresh bread, too, I nodded. Smells good, Mary. She gave me a proud smile. Feels good to see this place alive again. It does, I said. Feels like the ranch got its heart back. Mary looked at Eleanor. You look stronger. I feel stronger, Eleanor said. Like I've stopped running. Mary's eyes softened. You're home now, honey. Don't you forget it. Eleanor reached out and squeezed her hand. I won't, Mary turned to me. You too, Daniel. You've been carrying ghosts too long. I know, I said. But I think they've let me go. She smiled. Then maybe now you can live. After breakfast, I went to the workshop. The rocking chair sat in the corner, old and cracked. It was Eleanor's, the one she used to sit in on the porch every night. I ran my hand over the wood. It felt rough, but strong, like us. Eleanor came to the door. You fixing it? Trying, I said. It's still good underneath, she smiled faintly. Like the man fixing it, I looked up at her. You sure you want it back? It was never gone, she said. You kept it safe, I nodded. Maybe I did. She came closer, kneeling beside me. Her fingers brushed mine as she helped with the sandpaper. For a moment, the years between us vanished. The silence, the lies, the grief, all faded. She said quietly, Do you ever wish I hadn't come back? I stopped working. No, not even a little. Not even a little, I said. I wished for you every day, her eyes filled. I thought you'd hate me. I did, I said softly. For a while. But then I realized I hated what was done to us, not you. She took a shaky breath. I never stopped loving you. I looked at her hand. I know. You left your love behind right here. She smiled through tears. You always said I talked too much. And you still do, I said with a grin. She laughed, wiping her eyes. Maybe that's good. It is, I said. It means you're home. By afternoon, the chair looked almost new again. I sat in it carefully. It creaked, then swayed gently like it remembered her. Eleanor watched me. Feels right, doesn't it? It does, I said. Like time forgot to take it. She looked toward the twins, chasing each other in the grass. You think they'll remember all this when they're older? They'll remember laughter, I said. And love. That's enough. Eleanor smiled. Then we did something right. I nodded. We survived. Later I walked to the stable. The horses lifted their heads when I entered. Their breath rose like smoke in the cool air. Lydia and Lila followed me. Daddy, can we ride now? Lydia asked. I smiled. Saddle up then. They tried, but the saddles were heavy. I helped them both. Their small hands worked hard, their laughter bright. Hold the reins tight, I said. We will. They answered together. Eleanor stood near the fence, watching with pride. When the girls were ready, I said, Easy now, don't rush. They rode slow circles in the yard, smiling wide. Eleanor leaned her head on my shoulder. You're a good father, she whispered. I'm learning, I said. They teach fast, she laughed softly. They got that from you. As the sun started to set, the girls came back. Their faces glowed with light and joy. Did you see us, Daddy? Lila asked. I did, I said. You rode like real cowgirls. Lydia grinned. We're gonna race next time. Tomorrow, I said. It's almost night. They nodded, yawning. Eleanor led them inside for supper. I stayed behind for a moment, looking at the horizon. The sky burned orange and red, fading into purple. For years, that color reminded me of endings. Now it looked like beginnings. When I came inside, the table was full. Bread, soup, laughter, stories. Mary told jokes. Eleanor smiled. The twins argued about who found more eggs. It felt like something sacred, simple, real, alive. After supper, I tucked the girls into bed. They hugged me tight. Good night, Daddy, they said together. Good night, my girls, I whispered. As I closed their door, Eleanor waited in the hallway. They adore you, she said. They're my reason now, I said. She touched my face gently. And I'm your heart? I smiled. You always were. We sat together on the porch after dark. The air was cool. The stars clear. The repaired chair rocked